Hello again, friend. It's me, Gary. I've been away for a little while, and this is probably one of the most challenging videos that I've ever had to put together. And people who followed me for a while understand that, yeah, I've done some trigger stuff, and I've told stories, and I've talked an awful lot about mental health issues. So this time around, talking about something challenging, so relating to mental health, but trying to keep things in a positive fashion so that you can get some relaxation out of this video. Well, telling you a story. And the story that I have to tell you about is one that a lot of people don't like to talk about. Grief. We're living in an extremely challenging time. Right now, this is probably the most scattered, crazy, weird, and bizarre time that I've seen within my lifetime. I've seen a lot of people going through a lot of stuff, so I'm not going to put my stuff first and say I've got all of the answers, because I don't. I have a story. My story is going to be different from your story. Whatever your losses have been over the last few months, I'm sorry for your loss. My goal is not to make light of or to lessen anybody's grief or anybody's loss. This is just my story and how I've been able to deal with it, and deal with it pretty effectively. And people who follow me on Twitter know that recently I lost my father, and it had nothing to do with the current pandemic. It's just a way of life, and the way things go. Things happen, and none of us are going to live forever. So taking this moment to appreciate everything that we do have, and to acknowledge those losses, and to learn and grow from those losses. I'm okay. I'm glad to be able to say that. I'm okay. And it hasn't been easy, because not every lifelong journey is going to be easy, nor is it meant to be. Anybody who goes through grief goes through all sorts of different stages, and I'm pretty sure that most of my viewers here, and probably you, have heard of those stages. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. Those are 5 stages that most of us realize accompany the whole issue surrounding grief. How do you get control over it? How do you move on? in losing my father, the way I have managed to get control is to let go of control, to give it up. I once had a counselor say to me, well, there is no such thing as control. I'm not sure how accurate that is. I just know that the more I fight for control, the less control I actually have. And sometimes you just have to give it up instead of trying to control. Perhaps it's more a matter of being able to examine, look at the situation. There are good memories in a bad moment. I have been trying to focus on the good. I've never heard so many stories about my dad than I have over the last couple of months. And I've learned an awful lot about my father. I've been able to understand him better. And I think that throughout all of this, I've been able to get a better appreciation for the man that he was. And my feelings of love for him have just grown. Whenever anybody loses a loved one, there are ceremonies at a funeral or at a service. And people have a million things to say. And a lot of it is sort of the cliche stuff that you would expect to hear. But if you listen carefully, you'll get those little snippets, those things that perhaps you never heard before. My father did not grow up having the easiest life. And his concerns over his mom made an impact onto how he would treat my mom. And I always thought my dad was overprotective, trying to control things too much. Always had to be the one that was taking charge of things, making sure that my mom was going to be okay. What he didn't understand is my mom is rock solid. She is one of the strongest people that I've ever met. But this overprotectiveness that he had was based upon things that happened to him earlier in life. And being able to understand that now, I have a better appreciation for the man that my dad was. And that's a part of the legacy that he leaves behind. Always look at the good memories in a bad moment. I've always felt that way. And it's helped to make bad moments more bearable. The hardest thing has been to allow myself to feel. We live in a society today where people don't want to feel uncomfortable and they reach for a pill. And that might actually be the right answer for some people. For people who are completely overwhelmed and unable to move on or function. But that's a medical decision and not a decision that I would make or tell you that it's right or wrong. I'm a firm believer in following the medical advice that you're given, making informed decisions with whoever your care provider is. I can't tell you what to do. I would never do that. Being able to allow myself to feel, though, has made things easier for me. Instead of trying to stuff down feelings, try to pretend that they're not there, trying to be the strong one for everyone. If you don't feel it, you can't get over it. And you may think that you're fine. And you might tell everyone that you're okay, when maybe you're not. And if you're not okay, that's all right. There are people you can reach out to. You have family, loved ones, friends, a counselor, a confidant, even crisis lines. Sometimes it's easier to reach out to someone you've never met before. Somebody who can make sense out of everything that you're going through. Whether you're going through your denial or anger or bargaining or depression or acceptance, whatever it is, maybe it doesn't make sense to you. Or maybe you're one of those people who go on the internet and look everything up and expect everything to unfold exactly the way the stages of grief are outlined. I've got a surprise for you. Those stages can be all over the place. I've gone from being sad to acceptance to anger to bargaining, back and forth, waxing and waning, and never in the same order twice. And sometimes my brain spins. But I know when to reach out. I know who my support team is. I know who the people are who will be listening to me. But every time I hit one of those stages and I get washed over by all of those emotions, instead of trying to stuff it down, I do the exact opposite. I open it up and I look at it. I examine it. There are times that I even amplify it intentionally. Because sometimes I just want to feel. I just want to feel something to overcome the numbness that can sometimes accompany grief. So if you're not okay, I understand that. I'm sorry for whatever loss you've encountered. I deal with grief on a daily basis, not just with myself, but with many of the people that I have worked with in the past. You have a journey that you're going on. I can tell you that mine has not been as bad as I thought it would be. And I've been able to grow from it and to accept things that I have no control over. Whatever your journey is, I hope you allow yourself to feel. Know that you're not alone. And in the end, things are going to work out. Good night from Canada.